My 26F BF 27M zones everything out when he's gaming, and it's making me resentful. We've been together for 4 years and been living together for 2. I always knew he was a gamer, but it used to be much less, after work or on the weekends to de-stress, and it's how he and his friends stay in touch. However, about 1.5 years ago, he managed to put his money into investments that give him passive incomes and allow him to essentially stop working/retire. He still does freelance stuff here and there, but now spends the majority of his time playing video games. Since he can't pause the games midway, it's difficult to talk to him. Sometimes I just want to share little tidbits of my day or interesting videos I found, but he's always in the middle of a game, so I end up just standing there waiting for him to finish, and usually by then the moment has passed and whatever I wanted to say feels trivial. Things got worse when I gave up gaming headphones since he and his friends screaming is too loud. But now it's even more difficult to get his attention. I could walk in the room, say something, and he wouldn't look up for 5 to 10 minutes. Everything is a waiting game: walking the dog, dinner/lunch, laundry, etc. It's like instead of being a hobby that adds to his life, video games are his life and everything else revolves around it, including me. He admitted himself that he loses track of time while playing. Maybe I'm overreacting, but even with my college roommates, we'd shout random things at each other throughout the day, and I miss having this mundane connection with someone I live with. Or maybe guys just don't talk about random shit like girls do. We've had many arguments about this, and things would change for a bit then go back to how it used to be. How can I communicate to him that his gaming is hurting our relationship? Too long didn't read. Boyfriend spends all day playing video games and everything else is secondary. It's difficult to talk to him because he gets so engrossed in what he's doing and can't stop in the middle of the game. What can I do to let him see that this is an issue? Or if it's an issue at all? What does he contribute in this relationship and in your life? If he doesn't have any added value in your life and you're basically May with or without him, then yeah. Well, time to think. Honestly I get that he's basically fixed for life in terms of finance, but I can think of no greater turn off that this apparently now means that he now lives life on autopilot. Are you really okay with having a partner who doesn't have any kind of drive in his life except for gaming? There's a big difference between having gaming as a hobby and having your life revolve around gaming. You can try to have a serious conversation about this, but I've seen numerous stories from women and who stayed way too long in such a relationship where they don't get anything out of it. If you have this conversation, set for yourself a deadline. If there's no difference in his behavior, prepare to leave. What does your boyfriend do except play games? Does he have a role in the community? Does he help out around the house? Do you have friends over or go out with friends? Does he spend quality time with you? He doesn't need to do any of those things, but they're all pretty basic requirements for your standard high-value partner in your standard healthy relationship. I mean, how do you see this dynamic changing with marriage, or kids, if you want those things? What does he talk about with your parents and friends? What does he do to excite you? If you want to address this, work out exactly how you feel and what you need to get past it. Asking for him to be 24/7 available is unreasonable, but asking for him to be doing more to sustain the relationship isn't. Keep the focus on how you feel as a result of his actions, rather than any kind of judgment. That's the difference between I feel neglected and you shouldn't be gaming so much. One is true and personal, the other is dismissible. We've had many arguments about this, and things would change for a bit then go back to how it used to be. How can I communicate to him that his gaming is hurting our relationship? You already have. You mentioned this a sentence earlier. We've had many arguments about this, and things would change for a bit then go back to how it used to be. I sense you're looking for magic words that will make him want to pay attention to you. You already expressed it. If you told him, more than once, I feel neglected and my needs aren't met, I need this to change, and his response is to first argue, then give in for a couple of days, then go back to how it was, then. I mean, do you really think you didn't express yourself well and he still doesn't understand? Or do you think that maybe it's much more probable that he doesn't care that much about the relationship? At some point you'll have to at least entertain the idea that the problem is not in communication but in his feelings. He might be more into gaming than into a life with you. Sounds like he needs a schedule. I mean, if you're at work, playing like this is fine, but ultimately there needs to be game-free time each day and more on weekends. It also sounds like he needs other hobbies to round out his time. You deserve a present partner. He may not be an addict, but we know gaming is habit-forming and does require focus, so he has to see the importance of balancing priorities. Would it be okay for me, 18F, to catch up with my former teacher, 33F? I had my high school graduation 2 months ago in October. On the last day of school, I asked my closest teacher if we could catch up in the future, to which she happily answered with yay. We can go out for coffee. I had this teacher for 3 years and I am very close to her. We had many conversations about our personal life and etc. I am now thinking of sending her an email to organize the coffee around January. However, I am a bit worried about meeting her because I never even imagined that I would meet this teacher in public as a friend. I am so nervous about meeting her that I am even considering not sending the email, which is really heartbreaking as I really want to keep in touch with her and chat with her from time to time to give updates on each other's life. You may ask, why don't you visit her at school rather than private catch-ups? You can just keep in touch with her and send emails/social media, can't you? Well, the thing is, I'm moving interstate for university, so I cannot visit her at school. Also, I can definitely add her on social media and send emails, but she has her own rule. Friending on social media is only allowed after 5 years of graduation, and I don't want to send emails. I want to meet face to face. So, should I send her the email and actually catch up with her? I don't want things to be awkward. Frown. I would extremely appreciate it if you could send me your opinions on this matter. Yes, I can't really bring my friends, also her student, along because they don't like this teacher rip. I also want to meet one-on-one for a personal convo. Too long didn't read. My former teacher suggested that we can catch up for coffee. I need to send her an email to organize it, but I'm very hesitant as I feel like it would be awkward, but I really want to catch up with her. What do I do? When I'd come home for breaks from college, I used to get lunch with one of my high school teachers every once in a while. She was definitely happy to hear from me, and I definitely think you should reach out. This seems fine to me. Her rule about not sharing social media tells me she has good boundaries, and while friendly, she still expects this to be a mentor/mentee relationship. Teacher here. I love when former students get in touch with me and want to catch up. Reach out, send the email. It may feel awkward at first, but it really is nice to hear from former students. Good luck. Do it. Do it for the team. Maybe start to convo with the reminder that she mentioned that at graduation, and that you hope not to be stepping over any boundaries, but you'd like to take her up on that and catch up with each other. I think she will be happy to hear from you. She likely can't or won't reach out because decorum dictates she move on, appropriately so. You making the first friendship move might bridge the gap so you can cultivate this relationship. Sometimes first steps are awkward, actually a lot of times they are. Don't have any expectations, but be hopeful and yourself. Good luck. Yeah, I also feel like that I'm the one that needs to reach out because of the position that she has, and she doesn't have any of my contact details. Thank you. Smile. My 23F mother can only talk about her religion, and it drives me away from her. My mother is extremely religious, and it is standing in the way of our relationship, because I cannot talk to her anymore. It has come to the point where she finds me too progressive and thus straying from the right path. This leads to 2 problems. 1, in conversation, I cannot share my thoughts on homosexuality, sex, or even evolution. This makes it hard to talk about what I love, since I'm a nerd about feminism, politics, history and human development. Every conversation ends with her being fed up with me because she thinks I disapprove of her views, and we thus avoid the conversations, and the talks about my interests, altogether. She is very prone to conspiracy theories because of her radical religion, so I find it important to warn her, but she does not want to hear my scientific babbling. And 2, I cannot go to her with personal problems, because her solution to everything is, "Have you already prayed for it?" or, "God works in mysterious ways." This does not support me and I do not feel heard. I feel alone and not connected to my mom because of it. I'm also religious, but much lighter. She very much believes that her religious vision is the truth. Thus conversations about how my interpretation of religion is different have not gone so well in the past. Too long didn't read. How do I connect with my mom when her radical religion stands in the way? Edit, typo. My relationship with my parents is similar, but perhaps not quite as extreme. Still, maybe my approach will be helpful. You are welcome to take it or leave it. 1. First, I try to keep visits relatively short. I don't spend a week with them at a time. I try to keep these visits to 2 or 3 days maximum. Then your guard don't need to be up quite as long. 2. Second, I try to make sure we are focused on things we have common bonds over and away from polarizing things. Mom, let's go on a walk. I want to hear about the new developments in the neighborhood, or your work, or the cookie exchange, etc. If my dad is watching Fox News, I might ask him to turn on a sporting event that we both enjoy watching. 3. When they insist on talking about religious issues, I try to direct the conversation away from ideology and towards practical, grassroots efforts. Has their church done a garage sale for someone or been collecting meals for a new mother? Sometimes that even helps to reframe conversations toward tangible good and away from contentious topics. Sorry for writing so much. I just feel your burden. I love my parents and want to stay in touch with them, but it can be hard when our perspectives are different. Hopefully this helps a bit. My dad is the same way. I found the best thing to do is don't take it personally, because they may use it to mask some other problem they would have without it. My dad was an alcoholic but found God and is now the same way you describe your mom. Stepping back, I'm glad he got help and honestly jealous he is so sure of his place in the universe. It took a while and a bit of distance, but I was also kind of an ass and told my dad blatantly that I didn't want to talk about religion. Sorry, Dad. Eventually he learned I just wanted to avoid the theological conversations and we have a much better relationship now. Keep it broad and treat her kind of like a co-worker. Safe topics. If you have to vent and she suggests religion, maybe try "I want my mom to comfort me. God is too mysterious." Humor always helps. Good luck, Hop. Have you had an honest conversation with her expressing that you feel this way? As people get older, they often get more conservative and entrenched in their beliefs. It's unlikely you'll be able to talk to her about all the social issues you're passionate about. I think you'd be best served coming at it from the angle of not feeling supported when sharing personal problems. You may be able to make some headway there. Can I ask, have you asked about her other interests or personal life? It's possible you may be able to find some common ground or more genuine connection if you search for something else she might want to talk about rather than the things you already know she won't. How do I connect with my mom when her radical religion stands in the way? You don't. We connect on common ground. If there isn't any, there isn't any. That isn't to say you can't have conversations, but she's not going to connect to anything she's not connected to. And neither will you.